Welcome to the New in Lynchburg podcast, the podcast that's dedicated to helping you get the most out of this great city, Lynchburg, Virginia. You'll get highlights on upcoming events, interviews with interesting people. You'll learn more about local nonprofits, and we'll keep you connected to all the new things going on in Lynchburg. Here are your hosts, Josh and Ray.
Welcome to the New in Lynchburg podcast. I'm Ray Gonzalez, along with my co-host, Natalie Rogers, and we are New in Lynchburg.
This podcast is sponsored by newinlynchburg.com, your source for all things Lynchburg. If you're looking for upcoming events, local deals, things to do all in the Lynchburg area, make sure you check out newinlynchburg.com.
So today we are going to be having a nonprofit local in Lynchburg on the show. So we're really excited about that. And we want to talk about all the outdoor adventures and activities there are to do around Lynchburg, and there are a lot of them.
You have like Blackwater Creek, you have waterfalls, you have hiking.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned on one of the prior podcasts about a really cool waterfall that I had gone to, and I could not remember the name, but I have it. It is called Cascade Falls, and it's a really cool place. It's about 2 hours away, but if you have not gone to Cascade Falls, make sure you look it up and go there, because it is awesome. It is not that hard of a hike, but it's a decent hike up to the waterfall, and you can kind of see it as you're going up to it. So you're like, oh man, there it is, and you're kind of getting excited about being there. And then once you show up, there's a river, and you can actually walk. You got to put water shoes on, because otherwise you'll fall right in your face. Ooh. I don't know from experience, but I've seen people fall right in their face because the rocks are really slippery. But bring your water shoes, and you can actually walk right up to the waterfall, and the waterfall like falls on you. It's like you're underneath it. It's great. And then there's a little ledge, and you can jump right into this really deep, cold, freezing cold pool right there on the waterfall. So it's a really, really awesome trip. And then you just put your clothes back on, and you go down, you hike back. So it's a really cool trip. If you're adventurous, make sure you check out Cascade Falls.
I used to live in downtown, and I would always go to the Blackwater Creek Trail, take some runs down there. They have this really cool tunnel down there.
Yeah, it used to be a train trestle, I think.
Really? That's so cool. Yeah, I had never seen it. To me, it's a cave, so I call it a cave, but I don't know if it's a tunnel or a cave. But being from Miami, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a cave. Like, I was freaking out, and then the water would fall on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's raining in the cave. It was so cool. But the Blackwater Creek, it goes around like forever, it feels like.
A real fast way to see the whole entire thing is on a bike. I went with Bikes Unlimited. We went to the Pints After Pedals, and we rode through that cave or tunnel, whatever you want to say. And we went from one into the other. So it's really, really great way to see it. A lot of cool things to do. And that's right in the city of Lynchburg. You don't even have to go very far. So that's a really cool thing to do. Another great thing about this area is there's tons of hiking to do. There are a lot of places you can go, and we're right near the Appalachian Trail. So that's a really cool, that's right close by from Lynchburg. Yeah,
and it's really cool to see, especially around this time of the year when all the leaves are changing. I remember when I saw a red or yellow leaf tree over there in that area, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's magic.
This is the most beautiful thing ever. Watching the sunset from up there, or, because I'm not really good at hiking, but watching the sunset in the car when I'm warm. But it's really cool over there, so I very much enjoy those adventures.
Yeah, the fall pretty much like makes me want to like go outside, chop some wood, like go out and do hiking and all that fun stuff you can do outside in the nice, cool, crisp weather. So we wanted to mention all those cool things there are to do in Lynchburg, because today on the show we have Bree. She is from Urban Mountain Adventures, and Bree Curtas is the assistant director of Urban Mountain Adventures. She's worked there for 4.5 years and lives in Lynchburg now for almost 10 years. So we're excited to have her on the show.
Yeah, we're really excited to talk to you all about what Urban Mountain Adventures is about. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
So tell us about Urban Mountain Adventures. What is it? Like, when did you guys get started? How does it work?
So Urban Mountain Adventures was started by James and Julie Borden in 2008. They moved into the lower Rivermont area, and as they were moving in and building relationships with their community and their neighbors, they saw how available the kids were. Kids were hanging out at their house. Kids were just around and hanging out. So having a heart for youth and a heart for ministry, they started just inviting the kids in, feeding them, hanging out with them. And James, who is our director, he's also a firefighter, an outdoorsman. He knew how important outdoors was to him growing up. So he started getting the boys involved in backpacking. And as he was taking these boys out backpacking and camping and fishing and hiking, he realized he had something there. The boys were really enjoying it. So from a couple boys going backpacking with James, it has turned into a nonprofit, a 501c3, where we now have 50 youth that are rappelling, whitewater rafting, backpacking, camping, hiking, just getting out in the community. Just like you've mentioned, we've done pretty much everything and more. So getting kids outside and using it to impact their lives and teach them about God.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Natalie used to live down right in that area, right,
yeah,
on Rivermont. So it's actually a really cool neighborhood that is kind of old part of the city, but again, has that really great community feel. So that's really awesome. When he first started the nonprofit, was it specifically like right in Lynchburg? Or do you guys go all over Virginia? Where do you guys go and where do you do these trips?
Yeah, so when it started, the idea behind it was, like I'd mentioned, James realized how important the outdoors were for him growing up. He realized he learned hard work, determination, teamwork, just all of these things. So he wanted to use that to impact kids. So it all started on the basis of relationship. And what he kind of realized is that to build relationship, you can use all these outdoor adventures. So we do tons of different things, but everything that we do is based around building relationships, furthering relationships, and being a support system to the kid as they grow up. So we take the kids rafting down Balcony Falls in the springtime when the water's high. We take the kids backpacking on the AT, like you mentioned. The cool thing about Lynchburg is we are literally within 50 minutes, 50-ish miles of the AT, of the mountains, of hiking, of all of that.
There's so much right in our area. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we take the kids out, pretty much anything we can do with them. We take them rock climbing and rappelling up on the Blue Ridge Parkway in an area called Raven's Roost. So there's about 100-foot cliff. It's really cool.
Yeah,
talking about sunsets.
Yeah,
you got to go there. You can sit in your car and watch the sunset from there too.
You don't have to get out of the car.
You totally don't have to get out.
I love getting out. It's just so cold.
You could bring a blanket too and then be close to the car.
Perfect.
So are these programs that you guys offer, is it all year round? Because I know sometimes it's seasonal kind of stuff, but do you guys have something all the time, or do you just kind of stick to like spring, summer, and fall?
Yes. So the cool thing about Urban Mountain Adventures, like I had said, is we are a relationship-based organization and ministry. So we mentor our youth all year round. We provide programs for the kids on a weekly basis. Every Wednesday night or Monday, Tuesday, just depends on what's best for the group. We get together with the kids with their age group, different genders, and we're mentoring them. We're building relationships. We're taking them to snowflakes, or we're cooking dinner in our homes. We're having Bible studies with them during these times. A lot of these kids also have mentors that are meeting with them on a weekly basis. So we're about providing the kids with support that looks different. Sometimes support is taking a bunch of leaders who are pumped to get the kids outside and taking them hiking or rafting. Sometimes support is saying, hey, let's sit down and read the Word of God together. Other times support is saying, hey, let's just go have fun. You know, kids spell love, T-I-M-E. So we just want to spend time with them and really love them in different ways. And we found outdoors is a great way to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think about how the best way to mentor, the best way to disciple is by having a relationship. And it seems like Urban Mountain Adventures is just about that, being relational with these children and even with each other, the team. I'm sure you guys seem super close, just, you know, helping each other, whatever it may be. So that's really exciting to know about a place here in Lynchburg that is right available whenever a youth needs it.
Yeah, I really like what you said about one kid might need to go have a Bible study, but one kid might just need somebody to talk to, or somebody might need to go out and do something fun, because it's not always just about reading the Bible. It's not always just about going having fun. It's what's the biggest need for that kid at that moment. What do they need? And if you have that relationship with them, you can know what they need to do. Sometimes it is going out and having some great fun. Sometimes it's just listening to that kid is going to help him more than anything. So I think that's really good that you guys are actually taking the time to not just doing fun things or not just doing Bible studies, but you're doing whatever is best for that specific kid or that specific group.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That's who we are. Everything that we do is relationship based. Our goal is not to take every single kid in Lynchburg rappelling. That'd be awesome if we did. But our goal is to further relationships and build trust. Because when you take a kid rappelling and you're teaching them about their harness and saying, hey, like these ropes are going to carry you, that takes a lot of trust, especially for kids who don't grow up doing these kinds of things. When we can earn their trust by saying, hey, you're going to do this and you're going to have fun. And they're like, no, I'm going to die. We're like, hey, I promise you're not going going to die. So when they get down to the bottom and we get to say, look at what you just did, we've gotten just a little bit closer to a trusting relationship with them, where now when we go back home and we see them on Wednesday nights, or we actually, all of our staff live in the neighborhood where all of our youth come from. So I see them getting off the bus, and if a kid looks down, I get to say, hey, what's going on? And I'm not some random stranger. I'm someone that's walking life with them. I'm their neighbor. We're friends. We're really a family. That's kind of how we operate with the kids, is we just kind of look at ourselves as a family. We had a Thanksgiving meal at the church across the street in our neighborhood with about 60 people, and it was a family Thanksgiving meal. We had the boys upstairs and the girls downstairs, and we did a story time. We played games, but we weren't this organization hosting a formal dinner. We were a family that said, hey, we have a ton of kids and a ton of adults. Let's just get together.
Wow, that sounds awesome. So it sounds like you guys are impacting the Lynchburg area very positively. Tell us a little bit about in what ways does Urban Mountain Adventures positively impact the community?
Yeah, so by building relationships with our kids, by providing support system around the kids, like we've said, we get to be able to identify different kids' needs and see what they need, where they need it. Sometimes it's help with school. Sometimes it's just something to do after school. You know, when you're younger, you can get yourself in trouble. So we try to recognize that. And this past summer, and during the school year last year, we had porch days where on Tuesdays they'd come and they'd hang out at our community house just to keep them busy. So we do a lot of different dynamic programming scheduled things. So we have our weekly groups, we have our mentoring program, we have our adventure trips. But outside of that, we're identifying what kids need to succeed. And by coming around the kids and pushing them forward, saying, hey, we're here for you. We're supporting you. We're going to come to your cheerleading games and watch you. We're going to come to your football games. We're going to support you. We're helping the kids succeed and become who they can be. I think it's tough to be a young person right now. I think the world is not geared towards young people succeeding. But by us coming behind them and saying, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to help you succeed, we're bettering our community because we're helping pump some amazing young people into the shoes that God intended for them to fill.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's such a need for young people today when they maybe don't feel like they have a lot of choices what to do after school. You guys are giving them a great opportunity. So I want to talk about, you just mentioned the community house. So I'm thinking, well, man, all these things like run through my head. What does that look like? You know, so where is this community house in the city and what's in there?
Yeah, so our community house is pretty much smack dab in the middle of our neighborhood. We are off of Rivermont Avenue. Our community house is on Charlotte Street, and it's a super dynamic house. So we have our office in there. So the front room has a couple desks for our staff members. We have in the back room a TV set up with game systems and couches and hangout. There's a kitchen. Upstairs, we have a gear storage room. So we store all the gear we need to keep inside up there. We also have 3 UMA volunteers living in the house. And then out back, we have a fire pit. We have a shed. We keep our rafts, life jackets, life vests in there. So this is a home that is full of activity, full of love. On any given night, you can find kids around a fire in the backyard with leaders, of course. We are not encouraging kids to go start fires in our backyard. And volunteers hanging out with the kids. It's a place where the kids, they pretty much hang out on the porch, whether there are UMA people around or not, because it's a safe place for them. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. Cooking dinner, games. We use it for our weekly groups, just anything we can think of to say, hey, this is your home too. So the kids really have an ownership knowing that that's kind of their house too.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Having given them some ownership into something in their community is awesome.
Yep. You mentioned that you guys all kind of live in the same neighborhood. So if a youth wants to get involved, do they have to live in that specific neighborhood, or can it be from anywhere in the Lynchburg area?
Sure. So because of the way that we operate and because we are able to transport our youth to outside events, but we don't have a transportation system that picks kids up and brings them in. We started with the kids that were directly in our neighborhood because they can walk to our houses. We utilize the church across the street and a church-owned building that's also right down the street. So our kids pretty much walk to everything. Sometimes if there's young ones, we might send a volunteer over to walk them to us. We do not send out people to pick up kids on a regular basis. That's not how we operate. So yes, if there was a family that really wanted their kid involved and they were going to drop their kid off to every event in our neighborhood, we would never say no to that. But it does work best with the kids that are directly in our community and in our area. We also have another branch in Michigan called the Keweenaw branch. So they're doing the same thing up there. And then also in Amherst, Virginia. So we've got a couple different sister organizations that are doing the same thing and impacting the kids that are close to them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you mentioned a bunch of volunteers already since we've been talking. Do you guys offer volunteer opportunities, or what does it take? If I'm interested in volunteering or getting involved with what you're doing, how do I do that, and what opportunities are there available, if any?
Yeah, we definitely have volunteer opportunities. And I would say the first thing that we ask when volunteers come to us is, what's the intention here? Are we have a lot of Liberty kids that need to fulfill hours, and that's great. And we are a certified CSER, if that's what it's still called, place. So you can get your CSER hours with us. But what we want to do is we want to build relationships. So when people come to us, we say, hey, if you're here to check off hours, we might not be the place for you. But if you're here to get hours and dig into the lives of kids, or not even get hours and just build relationship with awesome kids, we're the place for you, because we want to make sure that we're protecting our youth and having people come in that want to be there in the long run, because relationships, they're not really intended to have a time period on them, and we want to make sure that people aren't coming in with that. So that being said, building relationships is the number one thing that we ask. And then from there, we meet weekly for groups. So you can work with kids 8 to 16, 17 years old in a different group, just building those relationships. And then also we have just started a mentoring program. So what we do is we set up groups of 2 adults and 2 kids, and they meet once a week together as a group, and they just invest time in their kids, their mentees, the 2 adults and the 2 kids. So a couple different opportunities there, but what we'd ask you to do is just reach out to us through our website, and we could start that conversation and see how we can plug you in.
Have you had any kids that were in the program that grew up and now are volunteering?
That's a good question, and that's really cool, because that's something that we're really excited to see happen. Because we are a 10-year-old organization, we have had kids that grew up through our program, and now they'll step back in and help from time to time, which is really cool. But where we're at right now is we have kids that started with UMA at 6, 7 years old, and now they're 16, 17, and they are geared up and pumped to learn how to guide a raft. So we're starting to figure out how to put them in positions, because in the neighborhood, the younger kids obviously look up to the older kids. So we're picking out the kids that want to be in leadership positions and that we know can handle those leadership positions,
and maybe starting to give them some responsibilities.
Exactly, yeah. And we're creating those for them. So with our older girls, they love cooking and serving. So we're like, hey, help us out serving this meal.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys cook this? For some of the boys, they like helping out with some of the adventure things. So yeah, we're identifying the kids that want to step into that position, and we're starting that conversation with them. So there's a couple kids that come in mind that this coming year we're looking at bringing into a younger group as a junior leader, because we know that they're eager to have that leadership, but also excited to share what has been so impactful for them.
And I think when you give kids that responsibility, you're saying, hey, I trust you. And that just allows them to shine even more. You'd be amazed how much a teenager can actually accomplish when they have that confidence and they have that responsibility. So I think it's really great that they're being offered that opportunity.
Right. Someone once said, hold a crown over a child's head and watch them grow into it, or expect them to grow into it. And that's always been so huge for me, because I expect our kids to do great things. And when you expect someone to do something great, they want to achieve that. So with our kids, we expect them to be great leaders. And because they know that we have that faith and that trust in them, we see them continue to step into those roles, which is just so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's awesome, because it sounds like, from everything you're saying and everything that Urban Mountains Adventures is about, is that you guys are looking at these youth, these children, as God sees them. And that's really cool, because you're calling out potential that you know that is inside of them, and they're able to just flourish. And you could see them years from now, where, like you're saying, a couple of them are about to be stepping into leadership roles where they could be the mentors of other people, because you guys taught them how to do that and how to be there and how to create relationships with them. I think something that's really awesome that you guys are doing is something that a lot of mentors lack, is being able to just do the life stuff. A lot of times it's just sitting down, reading the word, tell me how you're doing, but no, let's go shopping, let's go cook, let's go paint, let's go out and adventure together, let's do life, but not just in the walls kind of thing.
Right, yeah, we're so all about that, living life together. And something that we think is so cool too is we are a Christian organization, and our goal and desire is to usher the kids into a relationship with Christ. And what they get to see is us all living out our life with Christ. Mm-hmm. So the girls have heard my journey into marriage. I was a newlywed when I started with UMA, and now I have a 1-year-old baby. And I tell them the truth. Hey, sometimes marriage is hard, but it's also really, really great. And one of my favorite things is to hear the girls say things like, I want to marry a man like Mr. Josh when I grow up, or I want to have a baby and I want to do this. And what we're really doing with our life is what Christ asked us to do. Model what I've asked you to do, and people will see that. And our kids are seeing that. And we're not creating a facade saying, hey, the Christian life is really, really easy. We're saying, hey, it's really hard sometimes. And you're going to have a lot of challenges up against you, but we're going to be here through that. So as you go through high school, as you challenge this stuff, we're here. Come to us. Ask us questions. And we've seen that. The kids start with the awe and wonder of learning these Bible stories at young ages, learning the attributes of God. And now our high schoolers are like asking us all these deep theological questions, which is so cool because we get to sit and answer those questions for them and sometimes say, hey, that's a really great question. I don't really know how to answer that. Let's figure out how to answer that together.
Yeah.
As adults, we don't know everything, right?
Right. And it's okay to say that. I think they appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. So what's coming up next for the Urban Mountain Adventures? Do you guys have anything planned? Anything that might have already happened?
We just ran a fundraising event on Giving Tuesday. Our goal was to raise $5,000 to replace equipment, get new equipment, and if you were interested in helping us out and wanted to go check us out on Facebook or our website, we would love if you'd be willing to help us get a helmet or a rafting helmet or life vest to help us get more kids out on our adventures.
Yeah, and it's a really great opportunity because you know that the money that you donate is going to directly impact a young child's life right here in Lynchburg.
Also, another really cool thing that Urban Mountain Adventures has just started doing in the community is we've started making our adventure trips available to the public. So we can take people whitewater rafting, rock climbing, rappelling, backpacking. So if you want to do something different for a kid's birthday, hire us for a rappelling trip. Let us take you out whitewater raft. And the really cool thing about that is when you do a rafting trip with Urban Mountain Adventures, buy what you pay for that, then that pays for a trip for our kids. So we get to continue to take the kids of Lynchburg City on these trips at no cost to them. So you buy adventure, give adventure.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Well, we really appreciate you telling us all about what Urban Mountain Adventures is doing, and it's really exciting to see that you guys are building relationships with people in the community and really making a difference. So we appreciate that so much. Every episode, we ask our guests a couple of questions. So we're going to ask you now, Bree. You're in the hot seat, and we want to ask you these couple questions because you're not originally from this area, right? I'm
from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. I've never been there myself, but other parts of Pennsylvania, but not Pittsburgh. So what are some interesting quirks or cultural things you've encountered that makes Lynchburg special?
So, cultural quirks. I really like hearing different dialects and accents and how people talk. That's always been really interesting to me. I don't know if you know anything about the Pittsburgh accent. I
don't know if they have any. Do they have one?
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Oh, look it up. Pittsburghers have an accent.
I mean, I think I hear it.
Oh, no. I don't have a Pittsburgh accent.
I think I hear a little bit of an accent.
You might hear some northern in me. I don't know.
Maybe. You definitely have an accent. I just don't know what it is.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I never knew that. So I really like picking up on accents and dialects. And within Lynchburg, there are so many different ones. People from Appomattox talk different from people that live in Lynchburg City. I like picking out where people are from. The other day, a repair guy came to work on my fridge, and he was talking. Immediately, I knew where he was from, and it was super awkward, but I was like, are you from Gladys? And his jaw dropped, and he looked at me, and he's like, yes. How do you know that? Of course, that wasn't the accent. I can't do it. I was like, I could just tell by the way you talk. And he was floored. He's like, I didn't know people even knew what Gladys was. So I like hearing people talk and asking, are you from, Appomattox? Or even since Lynchburg is such a melting pot, like, are you from North Carolina? Are you from Charleston? Because there's just so many different Southern accents. So I don't know. I guess I like that because there's just so many different people that have come to Lynchburg and settled.
There really are a lot of different kind of people. Yeah,
a lot of different accents.
Yeah. And we're going to look up a Pittsburgh accent after this.
Yeah, we are.
If you've not heard it, everyone listening to this, you need to look it up.
Well, you know what's funny about accents? Like, people not from the North, they think that people from Boston say Boston, but they don't.
Okay.
People from Boston say Boston. So it's like they think, I guess they don't know. So they think the way a New Yorker says Boston is the way Boston people say Boston.
Right.
Which is not.
Okay.
So it's just interesting.
I can only imagine the accents you would hear living in New York. I mean, we're dealing with like Southern accents.
Well, it's kind of the same though, because I'm from Long Island, so you have the talk, walk, call, coffee, that kind of thing. But it's varied too. Like my accent's not very thick, but if you go to some other place written a town over from me, or a family that has a much more pronounced accent, they could be in the same town as me, but they have a completely different or stronger accent.
Right.
So it's kind of like that here, where somebody that's from Lynchburg might have a not that pronounced of an accent, but somebody that lives in the same neighborhood might have a much more of a pronounced accent. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's true.
And being from Miami, everybody in Miami has like a Spanish accent.
Okay.
So when I moved here, I was like, oh, everybody to me had a Southern accent when I moved here. I was like, oh my gosh, you speak like a Southern.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what any other accent was, but you must be Southern.
Like, that's funny. Yeah, my cousin's husband is Canadian, and my husband doesn't really have a Southern accent, at least I don't think, from the Southern accents I know. And my Canadian cousin was like, sometimes I can't understand Josh. I was like, what? So it's just funny how we perceive different accents based on where we're from.
Yeah, definitely. So what are your favorite things to do in the Lynchburg area, other than figure out whose accent is from where?
Oh, geez. Now I got to think. One of my favorite things to do is to be outside. Obviously, my choice of profession. But I've got 2 big dogs, and my husband and I, we just love being outside. So we like going on Percival's Island, and there is a spot that I don't want to give away, but it's under a bridge, and we think it's our secret spot because we've never seen anybody there. I'm pretty sure it's probably not. But we go to this spot, and we let our dog swim in the river, and he fishes, and I like to catch crayfish. So we just like being outside. Anything that we can go, just let our dogs run, get their energy out, and we can play. That's fun for us. And I'm excited. Our baby is just getting to a point where she can toddle around and get into stuff. So I'm excited for the day that we can take her down to that spot on the river with a bucket and just catch crayfish.
That's going to be fun.
That's awesome. So if our audience wants to get in touch with Urban Mountain Adventures, how can they do that? And how also can they donate if they want to do that?
Yes. So you can check out our website. It is www.urbanmountainadventures.org. Or you could check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We've got a lot of cool stuff up there if you just want to see some of the stuff that we get into and what we do. So you can check us out on our online outlets. On our website, we have a contact page. You can just reach out through the contact page, get in touch with us. You can message us on Facebook. So pretty much any of the general ways you can reach out. We are really quick at getting back to folks. So
That's
you can reach out that way. If you are interested in donating, you can look on our Facebook page and see we still have our Give Adventure campaign running. We would love for you to help us. Even if we have already met our goal, all of the money we raise will go towards gear for our kids. Also, you could give through our website. So we've got a donate button on urbanmountainadventures.org. You can even set up a recurring monthly donation if you like, which would be awesome.
Yeah, so make sure you head to that website and give. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So, Bree, thanks so much again for being on the podcast today and letting us know all about what Urban Mountain Adventures is doing in our community. It's so great to know that there's something like Urban Mountain Adventures right where we're at. It's awesome.
We hope that this episode gave you a lot of valuable information. If you're interested in more great content about Lynchburg and the surrounding areas, please subscribe to our newsletter. We send out upcoming events, local deals, and we also let you know about what's going on new in Lynchburg every single week. You can sign up for our newsletter at newinlynchburg.com/subscribe.
Ray, what's your pick of the week?
So there are so many events happening this weekend. That's really hard for me to pick just one, but we are going to go with the 58th annual Lynchburg Christmas Parade. It's going to be a 50s theme this year. Parade takes place in Midtown Lynchburg. It's going to start at the City Stadium on Ford Avenue, and then it's going to take a left onto Oakley Avenue, turn right onto Memorial, and it's going to be ending right there at East Glass High School. On Sunday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., make sure you go and support Lynchburg at the 58th annual Lynchburg Christmas Parade.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Guys, also, we have some new content for you guys. We are very excited excited to announce the release.
Very excited.
Very, very excited, like drum roll excited to announce our Christmas guide this week. This guide is awesome, guys. It has Christmas upcoming events happening in the Lynchburg area. It has Christmas deals and sales. It has some local gift ideas. It has a Santa finder if you want to take pictures with Santa. It has a Christmas tree finder for when you got to go get your Christmas tree. It has so many awesome things. So it's really just your ultimate Christmas guide for this year here in the Lynchburg area.
Yeah, it's going to be a really shareable guide as well. We're going to put it on social media, so make sure you share with your friends so they don't miss out on all the great things that are going on in the community. So Natalie, we are coming to the favorite part of the show, and it is the dad joke. And Natalie, even though Natalie, you're not a dad, you never will be a dad, we are going to let you pick the dad joke of the week. So go ahead.
Thanks. All right. So you haven't read it yet, right?
No, I don't know this at all.
Seen it? You haven't heard it? All right. I think this one's kind of funny, but we'll see if it is. All right. How many apples grow on a tree?
Which tree?
No, that's not the response. Let's try again.
I don't know.
No. How many apples grow on a tree?
How many?
All of them.
All of them? I guess that's true. I guess that is absolutely true.
I know, it's pretty good. So guys, to see all the upcoming events, things to do, and find great guides like the Christmas guide, check out newinlynchburg.com.
This episode has been sponsored by newinlynchburg.com, your source for all things Lynchburg. If you're looking for upcoming events, local deals, things to do all in the Lynchburg area, make sure you check out newinlynchburg.com.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the New in Lynchburg podcast.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the New in Lynchburg podcast. Visit newinlynchburg.com for more episodes. If you want to stay up to date with what's going on in Lynchburg, then sign up for our free weekly newsletter at newinlynchburg.com/subscribe. Or follow us on Instagram at New in Lynchburg. You can also check us out at Facebook, facebook.com/New in Lynchburg. We will see you next week for another episode of the New in Lynchburg podcast.